Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to Life More Abundantly podcast. I am your host, Sheena Thomas, where I am also a pastor as well as a licensed therapist. Please, someone let me know too if you can hear me. I've been having some audio or technical difficulties this morning, but that's okay. We're going to get into our broadcast for today. And as you can see, our topic is friends. So I am so excited to talk about this topic because I feel like this is a very popular topic, I'll say. It's a statement that's going around lately. Oh, you're being a bad friend. I want to talk to you. You haven't been a good friend. And I just think that everyone hears have heard someone say it, so everybody's jumping on the bad bandwagon. What does that really mean? So that is what we are definitely going to break down and talk about today at length. And we're going to try to wrap this up in about 30 minutes. We usually go for about 45 minutes to an hour, but we have other commitments. So the purpose of us talking about this as well is to explore the purpose, the values, challenges, and impacts of friendships on emotional wellness, personal growth, and overall quality of life. So as we have this discussion today, there are some questions that I would like you to reflect upon. And one of them, and some of them are, I'll say, what qualities make someone a true friend? Number two, have friendships changed as you've grown older? Three, why do friendships become harder to maintain in adulthood? Four, can friendships affect mental health positively or negatively? And I think some of those questions we readily have the answer to, if not all of them. So let's get into what is a friendship? What is a friend? As we reflect, think about, what does that mean to you? What does having a friend mean to you? What does being a friend mean to you? Thought we had water and we don't. So, friendship is more than just proximity or history. It's more than how much you're around someone or the history that you may have with them, how long you've known them, how long they have known you. But friendship involves trust, support, respect, shared experiences, and that R word, reciprocity. Healthy friendships contribute to emotional wellness and resilience. We as people, we were created for connection and community. And that's why it's something that we innately desire and sometimes even crave, if we want to be honest about it. Friendships, they have the ability to influence our identity, our confidence, behavior, as well as our decision making. Let's discuss the differences between different types of categories of people that we engage with that we label as friends. So we know there is the term acquaintance, and I like to use that term myself when there is someone that I know, or maybe and someone I have maybe interacted with once or maybe a few times, and in my opinion, we have not yet grown what I would classify as a friendship. So I would label that person with a relationship as an acquaintance. Then there are casual friends, and people have so many definitions for what a casual friend is. I think a casual friend can, well, for me and how that looks in my life, is someone that I don't have that close bond with, as well as someone that I'm not as intentional about spending time with. If we happen to make a plan to get together, then good, and if not, then good also, and we are good. No harm, no foul. Then there are close friends, people that we consider to be close friends. I would believe that we usually have greater expectations for our engagement with these individuals, as well as they have they more likely would have the same of us. Then there are, and also another thing about close friends, you are intentional, not just to see each other or to speak to each other or communicate, but intentional about keeping up with one another's lives and doing it on a routine basis. And also just being there more than just in bad times or times of adversity, but through good times, doing good things together, making long-term plans together, short-term plans together, and just being more involved in one another's life, day-to-day life, even though you may not see or talk to each other every day. And then we have those covenant lifelong friendships. The first thing that comes to my mind is marriage, even though a spouse is a spouse, somebody, you're somebody's wife, you're somebody's husband, but an aspect of that relationship should also be a friendship. Because another thing is we talk about what a friendship is. A friendship is someone that we can confide in, and not only we can confide in, but we shouldn't have to worry about our information being repeated or us being gossiped about or anything like that. So, covenant, lifelong friendships, I believe that those are people who you, as well as them, have made a commitment to one another. It has been spoken, it has been tested, and it's reiterated throughout the course of your relationship. The commitment, the your covenant, your friendship is well known and understood between the two of you. And also, you could live in two different states, but are you being intentional about seeing each other? I know I've spoken to a lot of people who have had trouble with long time best friends or good friends, close friends, moving away from the state that they both reside in to another state, and they say, "Oh, that's going to affect our relationship. I'm so used to us going to the gym together. I'm so used to being able to call you and say, let's go get coffee." But what it doesn't have to impact the relationship. You just have to be even more intentional about being with meeting with that person. So you might say if they live in another state, okay, we want to get together quarterly, or we'll get together every year for each other's birthdays, or this holiday or that holiday. It just takes some intentionality. We'll talk a little more. We'll text a little more. We will FaceTime instead of just talking on the phone. So both of you are making a commitment to keep the friendship going as well as growing. So that is in a nutshell what a friend is. Also, let's think on this. Are all friendships meant to last forever? That's not something we really think about until we go through something with a friend. Also, think about what are the relationships in your life that you respect. What are the relationships in your life that you respect? Just to put your relationships in better perspective of who's are you calling someone a friend who's really an acquaintance? Are you calling someone a close friend when they're really a casual friend? So just to help define the level of the friendships and and engagements that you have with people. Let's talk about next, what are the signs of a healthy friendship? So I think that some of the signs of a healthy friendship is the existence of trust, the existence of support, honesty, again, reciprocity, as well as healthy boundaries and boundaries that work both ways. If you set a boundary, I respect it. If I set a boundary, you respect it. And another way of looking at boundary setting is limits. You set a limit, I respect it, and vice versa. So, trust is you can feel safe sharing your thoughts and feelings. Your confidentiality is respected. Also, support friends and your friend or in you as well. Encourage growth and success. They celebrate they celebrate you and your victories rather than trying to compete or being jealous or envious. And also, in honesty, they know how to speak the truth in love. You know how to speak the truth to them in love. And also, y'all are able to have the hard conversations and not avoid them. Reciprocity, the relationship feels balanced. Also, both individuals invest time, effort, as well as care. I came across something the other day, and I grabbed it to share with you guys, knowing we are going to be talking about this. So it is a pen, and it said you can cultivate reciprocity in relationships without becoming transactional. You can cultivate reciprocity in relationships without becoming transactional. I like that because when we think about reciprocity, it kind of does mean like give and take. Are you able to give as well as receive, or are you just a taker and not a giver? And so in we're talking about real friendships where there's like a real bond, close relationships, close friendships, right? Just because I buy you a coffee today, don't necessarily mean you got to buy me one tomorrow. It's not about a tit for tat. That's not what reciprocity is. But I really view reciprocity is, would you do that for me? You may not necessarily do it, but could I depend on you to do it if I need it or if I asked you? And yes. So a good example is I look at, I really want a friend that, that I have. I looked at how this friend traveled from a quite a distance to come to an event. I had a friend lived in another state, and they drove quite a distance, took a day off work and things like that. And that just really meant something to me. And it made me think about, and I'm going to be honest, it made me think about, wow, this person did that for me when I have family who live in my same state, and they don't even drive 45 minutes or 30 minutes. So even though I haven't, I may not have traveled back the next week, it doesn't mean I won't travel for that friend or anybody. So reciprocity is not always I do this, then you got to do that. But it's the motive, it's the intent. Would a person show up for you? Has your friend shown you that they're willing to be a giver in the relationship and not only a taker? So that's more of what reciprocity is. Also, I want you to reflect on the question of, do your friendships leave you feeling energized, supported, and valued? Or do they leave you feeling drained and exhausted? Something to think about. When we think about what are the signs of a healthy relationship, healthy friendship, and we just talked about those things: trust, support, honesty, reciprocity, healthy boundaries. How do your friend, when you interact with your friend, how do you leave feeling? Energized, happy, encouraged, empowered, inspired, motivated, or are you drained and zapped of your energy? Just something to think about. Also, based upon what we talked about, the signs of a healthy friendship, are your friendships balanced or are they one-sided? We also meant to say, we did not even post in the comment, but if you want to leave a comment or a question, please feel free to do so. And also please like, share, and subscribe to this broadcast. You can subscribe to our podcast on YouTube currently, as well as Spotify. Okay, now back to the topic. So next, let's talk about toxic friendships and what are the red flags of a toxic friendship. So some friendships become so they can become emotionally draining as well as unhealthy. And sometimes with friendships, we don't realize it right away because it's like we want to hope for the best so much. And it, for some reason, we'll realize it quicker with like an intimate partner, more so than a friendship, even though a friendship is a close relationship. So toxic friendship signs are someone who is constantly negative. That's why you leave these conversations feeling emotionally drained and zapped, because they always got a complaint. They always got something negative about to say about somebody, or some type of negative event that occurred in their life. Also, they constantly criticize. Also, you notice that they do have that jealousy, envy, and competition in them. There are elements of manipulation. There's a lack of support, lack of accountability. Also, the person may be a gossiper, or someone who betray others, which if they betray others, rest assured they will betray you. And they violate the boundaries that you try to set. And also, they can only be present or show up for you when they can benefit from it in some way, shape, or form. Watch that with people. And that's a good point about when people do show up for us. You have to watch that, because are they able to show up for you when it has absolutely nothing to do with them? Or every time they show up for you, they are getting it, it is benefiting them in some way. And sometimes we don't even notice it, because when they are showing up for us, we're going through our own stuff. Or it could be a good thing, somebody coming to you, they know because you're in town, or whatever the case may be. So watch when people's motives for doing things for you. They'll say, "Yeah, I'm always there for you. Tell me a time I wasn't there." And then you think back and you like, "Yeah, she was there, but it cost me a couple of extra dollars, or it cost me this, or it cost me that." So we gotta watch those things. Unhealthy friendships also can contribute to stress, anxiety, emotional exhaustion, which we talked about. Also reduces your self-esteem because you're minimized. A lot of times when friendships impact our self-esteem, it's because we're dealing with people that it's always about them, and they're up here, you're down there. And also it's when we're dealing with people in friendships where there's a power imbalance. That's another thing about reciprocity. You shouldn't hold all the power in a relationship. It should be balanced. It should be equal, and that shows that both parties are being respected by one another. Also, unhealthy friendships, it makes it difficult for you to trust other friends. Just like in intimate relationships, you go through a bad relationship with somebody, maybe you was cheated on, and it traumatizes you, and it can impact your relationships moving forward if that's not dealt with. Friendships are the same way. And here it is, we will take time to process and to heal and to go to therapy when we break up with a significant other. But when we go through these hurts and traumas and friendships, we just say, "I'm moving on. It is what it is." But yet and still, it still has an impact on you. And it will affect how you treat other people and other friends. Also, unhealthy friendships, they will hinder your growth. They will hinder your growth. The Bible talks about, how we are to edify one another. Edify means to build up. Or are your friends building you up, or are they doing a whole lot of tearing you down, sprinkling humor on there, sprinkling, "Oh, I didn't mean that," and minimizing that behavior. So these are some things that we can think about and reflect on for sure. Why do we remain in unhealthy friendships? Because we do sometimes, a lot of times, we stay friends with people a lot longer than we should. And so, some of the reasons why we remain in unhealthy friendship, for the fear of not having a friend or not having many friends. Also because we feel obligated because out of the history we have with a person, we've been through so much. Some people got some real war stories. We went through, we've been in prison together, we went through homelessness together, we went through being broke together, whatever the case may be. We feel the need to stay obligated because of history. Also, we hold out hope that the person will change. And years go by, months go by, and we still are seeing the same result, if not worse. So let's talk next about friendships and how they can support or should support your personal growth. Friends can either push you towards growth, or they can keep you stuck in unhealthy patterns. And what is a phrase? It says, "Birds of a feather flock together." That is true. That's why I always say, if you're on a journey and you have certain goals to become a better version of yourself, or you're trying to elevate your financial status, your career status, you need to align yourself with like-minded people, because someone who is not in that same mindset, they have the potential to pull you down and to keep you stuck and hold you back. And a lot of times, out of these commitments and unhealthy loyalties we have, we don't even realize it until it's too late. So also, healthy friendships, they have the ability to challenge you to evolve without shaming you. That's why I love that statement. They be like, "Girl, you can do better," or "Man, you can do you can do better." It's like, correcting you with love instead of coming down on a person, but and letting you know your potential when you're at a low point in life. Like, you better than this, pushing you to grow and evolve and know that you don't have to settle for a current circumstance. So this is some of the things that friends should do. Earlier I asked the question, should friendships last forever? We all hope that they would, and that they do, but we all know too that they don't. It's another statement that says people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I have lived to learn that there's some truth to that. There have been some people in my life that I thought I could have in my life for a lifetime. They just had one purpose. And once that job was done or executed, whatever it was, whether I benefited or they benefited, that was that. We maybe never seen each other again, never spoke again. Then there are, seasons, periods of time. People will, go grow with you or be a friend, or whatever the case may be, an acquaintance, a casual friendship. And then you have those lifelong friends. Those lifelong friends too, sometimes they're usually the people that you never would have thought would have ended up being your lifelong friend. Also, they are the people who were able to grow with you through the various seasons of your life, and you were able to grow with them throughout the various seasons of their life. But I do think that as adults and as we get older, it is very important for us to realize that just because someone is a friend, what does that really mean? And what should it mean for you? Because it's about you examining what are your expectations as in a friendship. What are your needs? What are your values? What type, how do you want, or what's your idea of what the friendship should and should not be? So, also, another reason why people are in our life for a reason, season, or a lifetime is because as we grow as individuals, our interests change, our priorities change, our needs change, our values, they evolve. And sometimes, even if you're growing and the other person is growing in two positive ways, it creates a different path. And sometimes it just takes you in separate directions, and you're no longer friends or seeing each other or talking to each other. And that's another thing. I used to think people that I would label as friend, and we could go months without talking. But when we would talk, now I will say it's like we never missed a beat, and it's like we can just pick up right where we left off. You know, now here recently, I look at that in a different way. If someone wants to be my friend and wants me to be their friend, now realize that I need us to be intentional about our relationship. It's not okay that we go a week without talking or sending each other a text or checking in with each other. That's not okay. That's like being married to somebody. And I know marriage and friendship, they are two different things, and but it's like living with a significant other. It's like, okay, we live together and I'm with you, I know you with me, but it's okay. We just come and go like like night and day. And we don't spend no time. We don't engage with each other. We don't check in with each other. That's not okay. So if somebody, for me, if I have a friend, even if we live in two different states, we can live in different countries. What are we doing to cultivate our friendship? That's just like if you plant something, which I have a black thumb, not a green one, but I do know this. If you plant something and you don't water it, it won't grow. And not only will it not grow, it's going to die. That's the same thing with friendships. Oh, yeah, she knows she my friend. He know I'm his friend. No, what are we doing to water this friendship? That's what cultivate means. Also, this is something for you to think about as well. We're going to be dropping questions throughout the broadcast. Do your friends support your healing and growth? And a lot of times, regarding this question, if you're dealing with a person that they're not concerned with healing and growth, they're going to have a problem that you are, even if they don't say it. Also, and even if they don't have a problem with it, they can't support it because they know nothing about it. It's not their thing. Also, are your friendships aligned with your values and your goals? Goals, GOALS. Are we going in the same direction? I believe it was last week where we introduced the scripture Amos 3:3. How can two walk together except they be agreed? We can't. Also, or who are the people in your life that help to bring out the best version of you? Who is pushing you to be better? Who are your cheerleaders? Who are inspiring you? Who are motivating you to be better and to do better, to elevate in your thinking? So next, let's move on and talk about, let's see. I want to talk about loneliness, isolation, and community because I feel like this is one of the reasons why we'll say someone who's really an acquaintance will say, "Oh, that's my friend." Somebody who we really have a casual friendship with will say, "Oh, that's my close friend." Because we crave connection and we crave community and interaction so bad that we'll latch on to even the appearance of somebody being our friend without examining that they really are not a friend to us. So many adults struggle with loneliness in spite of even social media connection. And loneliness is something that can very much so negatively affect our mental and emotional health and wellness. So when we do have real friendships and real support and real meaningful, I'll say, in the place of real meaningful social engagements, relationships, and interactions, they help us create that support we need. It even gives us that accountability we need, that sense of belonging as well as encouragement along our journey of accomplishing our goals and living our life, being our authentic self, and just our personal growth journey. So this is why when we consider friends and what a friend is, we have to also consider how are we going to be intentional throughout this relationship. And so earlier I touched on healing from friendship hurt. When friendships are broken or they come to an end, it is a breakup. You have heard people say that I broke up with my friend, or my friend broke up with me. And sometimes when it's out of deep things like betrayal, rejection, or maybe distance, and distance is not always you live in one state, I live in another, but distance, we're not spending enough time together. We're not talking enough. We're not growing our friendship enough. This stuff, it hurts and it creates emotional wounds in us. So this healing may require us to properly grieve it. In order to be healed from these things, we have to properly grieve it. Also forgive, also reflect, and learn in our reflection. And just taking a step back, we got to learn how to rebuild trust. And also, when we talked earlier about people are in our lives for a reason, season, or a lifetime, we have to learn how to accept too, y'all, the ones that are in our life for a reason or season. And not just want people to be in your life for a lifetime, because people can be in your life for a lifetime, but what will be the quality of it? What will you have to go through to maintain it? And that's the part that we're not preparing for. Also, I want to talk about the becoming a better friend. A lot of times we think about friendships, we think about what we need and what we desire from the other person. Are you the type of friend that give what you know you need from other people? That is required. But be careful that you're not the only one giving. Are you getting your needs met as well? It definitely needs is something that needs to be considered. Lastly, I want to wrap up by y'all know I always try to grab 3 scriptures for y'all. The first scripture is this one. Proverbs 18:24 says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. And then Proverbs 27:17 says, well, let me go back to my Proverbs 18:24. A man that has friends must show himself friendly. That goes to my point of being the type of friend you want someone to be to you. We can't expect something if we're not willing to also give that thing. Good morning, my sister Lainey. So, and then my next scripture that talks about iron sharpens iron, which is Proverbs 27:17. It says, iron sharpeneth iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. That goes back to the point earlier where I was talking about when you talk to somebody or you hang out with them, do you leave feeling empowered or depleted? Do you leave feeling energized and happy and excited that you were able to spend time with that person, or you leave feeling like, oh my God, this like drained and dumped on and put down and cast down. So is this person investing in you, building you up like you're doing for them? Because that's another thing that drains and depletes us with friends. It's not just when they dump all these stuff on us, but it's also when they're the one that you got to constantly build up, pour into. But when you need it, they don't have the ability to do the same thing for you, whether they're willing to or not. But are they capable? So that's where you gotta watch. Am I in friendship or covenant with people that can be the same to me that I am able to be for them? My last scripture is John 15:13, and it says, greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. John 15:13. And what I like about that scripture is because that's talking about sacrifice. Are we in relationships where it's okay for me to sacrifice for you, but when I need something, if you won't go out your way for me, you'll tell me quick, I don't have it. When I'm dipping in bill money, I'm dipping in savings to help meet your dire need, but you will not do the same for me. So even if it's not regarding money, will a person sacrifice for you? Because sacrifice is different than showing up. It's different than out here. You take this money, but sacrifice is when you're doing something that you really can't afford to do. It doesn't mean just money. It could be your time. It could be anything, but where you have to really go out of your way or put some thought and some effort into getting this accomplished, or this need met for your friend. And so these are the when we are as adults, these are the level of friendships we are looking for. I think back to like preschool on the playground. The type of friends we had in mind was you share you do does so and so share with me and I share with them. Oh, that's my friend. Nowadays, we got to know, y'all, it is deeper than that. And we have to examine our connections with people that we spend our time with. Time, we cannot get it back. Time truly is precious. And how are we spending our time? The time that we're spending talking to or spending time with people that are not serving us any purpose, we could be better spending that time on something more productive in our life. So I want to leave you with some final closing takeaways. And I want to say that friendships, they should add value, peace, support, and growth in your life. Also, evaluate your friendships honestly and lovingly. And I say lovingly, I'm gonna give you an example. Just because you notice a flaw in a person, don't mean you stop being a friend. Because if we can stop being somebody's friend that easy, we don't love them. But let's first address it. Can this be overcome, or what can let's see how we can get to the root of it and talk about it. Can we talk about it openly before we just decide not to be someone's friend? Also, protect your peace while remaining open to healthy connection. We want and crave this connection, but don't get the connection that you crave or that you want because you don't want to feel lonely. You don't want to feel, just always isolated. Don't seek that at the expense of your peace. Like dealing with anything just to not have nothing. I rather not have the nothing, because when you lower your standards, a lot of times you become worse off. I was better off just being by myself. Also, I want to leave you with and as I always talk about personal development. That is my ministry. That's my lifelong journey. If that is your journey for life and you're committed to your own personal growth, health, and wellness for life, if you have to be in safe relationships, whether that's your intimate relationship, your family, and people that you are friends with. You cannot grow and thrive in something that's stagnant, something that is dead, something that's toxic or negative. In order for it to be safe, it has to be healthy. In order for it to be healthy, it has to be safe. And lastly, don't only focus on finding a good friend, but like I said earlier, also you be intentional about becoming and being a consistently good friend yourself. So I hope you received value out of today's broadcast, and we gave you a lot of questions to reflect on. But I'm looking at a few or just one. I'm looking at one that I haven't given you, and I want to really leave you for real with this one. Have you outgrown some of your friendships? Have you outgrown them? Remember, we talked earlier. Sometimes the answer is yes, but we remain because of history. We remain out of false loyalty. And I talked about false loyalty before. Just because someone really showed you loyalty in the past or currently, it doesn't mean you gotta be with them, remain with them, do things for them at all costs. It doesn't mean that. Because when we think about the word loyalty, we need to be loyal to ourselves first. Because if you can't be loyal to you first, you'll never be fully or effectively loyal to nobody else. Never. So I want to leave you with those thoughts. So we hope that, so we're not even going to able to pray out today, but please join us next week for Life More Abundantly podcast. God bless you.
Thank you for watching or listening to this week's broadcast. Join us next week as we take you further along the journey of healing, wholeness, and wellness. To learn more about the services of Abundant Life Holistic Wellness, or to book or engage with Pastor Sheena one-on-one, or make further comments or inquiries, please visit our website at restoreabundantlife.com. To stay connected with us, please follow the links to our social media outlets below. Again, thank you for watching, and we hope